Hello everyone and welcome to this advanced modding tutorial for Hex of Steel. I am the game developer and today we are going to be talking about the new modding possibilities introduced with the release of version 8.0.0. This new update introduces support for Harmony. Harmony is a library created by Andreas Pardiak originally for the game RimWorld to make modders' life easier. But since this library basically allows you to edit the code of any applications written in C#, which Hex of Steel is, well, this is going to be perfect for us to edit the code of the game. And to do that, we are going to need two things. The first one being downloading and installing .NET. .NET is a software framework created by Microsoft that lets developers write applications in languages like C#, S#, etc. Why this is needed for us? Well, basically because we're going to be writing code, and the app that we're going to be using for that is going to require .NET. So what you're going to do is download the installer that matches your environment. So I'm on macOS, so I'd be downloading the macOS installer. I won't be doing it now because I already have everything installed, so I will let you download, install, and then once that's done, we're going to be skipping to step 2. And step 2 being downloading and installing Visual Studio Code. Now, if you want to use any other IDE such as Writer or the regular Visual Studio, this is totally fine. But for the purpose of this video, I will be showing everything using Visual Studio Code. So yeah, that's what we're going to use today. Now, you're just going to be downloading this for your platform as for .NET. I'm not going to do it again because I already have it installed. So do that first, and then when you're ready, you can continue the video. Okay, now that we have our working environment set up, we are going to download these two folders, example mod harmony and template mod harmony. The download links are going to be available in the description of this video. The example mod harmony basically is going to be an example mod project with example code and all of that we're going to be taking a look in just a few moments. While the template mod harmony basically is a bootstrap mod project that is empty in appearance, but basically contains everything that is necessary for the mod to be compiled and run by the game. So this is what you are going to be using whenever you're going to be creating a new mod. Just duplicate this folder and use it as a start. Alright, so now the next logical step is basically to open up Visual Studio. So let's do just that. Okay, so you may be seeing a different landing page. The reason being you have just installed the app and I have not. So just take a few seconds to set up the app. And once you're done, you may just restart it and you should see the screen. Alright, so now what we're going to be doing is take the template mod harmony and drag and drop it onto Visual Studio on the welcome page here. And once we do that, yep, it's going to say a few things here. It's basically just loading the project. So now we can close the welcome page and take a look at the Files Explorer. Now, this gives us an overview of our mods project. So we have quite a few items in here, so let's take a look at all of them. First, we have the libraries folder. This contains all of the DLLs, so DLLs are libraries that our mod is going to be dependent on. So we have the Harmony DLL, which makes sense since our mod needs Harmony to run and be injected into the game. Then we have assembly C# DLL. This is going to be all of the game's code contained into that. And then we have a bunch of Unity dot or Unity Engine dot different modules from Unity basically that you may find useful during your modding endeavor. Then we have this obj folder. This one only contains some cache files and folder. It can be safely ignored. We are never going to be using that. And then we have this output folder. This is basically where your mods library is going to be exported to. More about that in a moment. Then we have a README file, which should be obviously reading. It contains various tips, steps for basic modding and resources, but we are going to be covering all of this in this very video. So yeah, then you're going to have this SLN file. This is pretty much useless. Just you don't really need to mess with that. And then we have the template mod.cs file, and this is a regular C# file, and this is going to contain some of the code of your mod, sorry. Um, then there is this CS file, and this basically contains references to the libraries that you have in your project in here. So make sure that whenever you remove libraries or add new ones, as you may need them, just make sure that you update this file as well. Otherwise, you're going to be running into various errors. But other than that, you're never going to be touching that unless you change libraries. One more thing before we start diving into the code is extensions. So I have the Unity and Unity cut snippets extensions installed. This is not going to be the case in this template or example mod project, simply because these are linked to your Visual Studio installation and not to the project you are currently working on. So I recommend you these two, the Unity extension. This is from Microsoft. I recommend this extension because it will make your life easier when working with Unity's code. It adds some like color coding to functions and stuff like that. And there also is, yeah, IntelliSense. So you have some auto code completion for Unity's functions. Basically, it will make your life much smoother when writing code and interacting with Unity. And the second one is going to be Unity code snippets. This one adds some auto completion for native Unity functions. So if I were to show you an example now, this would look like something like that. So you would start typing the function name and you could just do tab, and the extension is basically going to autocomplete and you won't have to manually type everything every time, and that is going to save you a lot of time. That's pretty much it about the extensions. So let's go back to the actual CS file. Since this is a template mod and pretty much everything is ready as is, before we actually start diving into the code and everything, I would like to show you how to export your mod and enable it into the game. So to export your mod, you are going to do either the shortcut Shift Command B on Mac. On Windows is going to be something else, but I will show you in just a sec. And then you're just going to hit enter because it's going to be .NET.build. So you do that, and then that's it. Your mod is built. Now, if you don't know the shortcut, this is fine. You go here, you just type in this, and then tasks, and then you have a run task. You click on run task, and then you click on .NET, and then you have .NET.build that is going to appear. Now, I would strongly advise you to check out on Google what the shortcut for running this task, running a task, is going to be on Windows or Linux, as this is going to speed up the process a whole bunch. So we just do .NET build, it's building. And now remember about this CS proj file here with the output path. Well, template mod harmony, we just opened the folder, the project, and then we have this output folder and net48, and we have the library, basically our mod, just in here. And look at how light this is, 5 kilobytes. This is ridiculous. Okay, so now we're going to open up the game. Don't mind me using Unity. I just don't want to have Steam open and everything. The results are going to be the same anyway. So we go to mods. I already have an example mod created, but if you don't have one, just create one. We're going to go to browse here and to libraries because this is where the generated library is going to go. So we can just drag and drop it. And then in your manifest.json, please do not forget that as the dependencies, you should be writing Harmony Core because, well, your mod is depending on it because it has a DLL, and without Harmony, you cannot load anything. So, yeah. Well, any DLLs. So next, well, we're going to be placing Harmony Core at the very top of our active mods. This is very important because your mod relies on Harmony to get its library loaded into the game. And since Harmony does that for you, well, you want Harmony Core to be at the very top. So once that's done, well, that's it. You just hit apply changes and the game is basically loading everything for you. We can just see in the console here that, yep, registering mod, initializing mod, patching game, registering mod, initializing mod, and applying patch from mod harmony example mod. Now, to make sure that it works, well, first there are no errors, so that's one thing. We can take a look at what this template mod actually does, and the only thing it does, there is a single harmony patch here, is it's going to change the name of a unit based on its type. So if the unit's type is a tank, it's going to say I'm a tank. If it's a plane, it's going to say I'm a plane. And if it's something else, it's going to say I'm something else. So let's check that our mod is working. We just go to any scenario, doesn't really matter because the change applies games wide. And then as you can see here on the bottom right, it says I'm a tank, I'm something else, and then I'm a plane. So our mod is working, but as I said, it's very, very, very basic. It doesn't do anything else, but it is enough for us to know that our mod is being loaded and that the changes are being applied. Now, if we go back to the main menu, go to mods again, we can just remove everything, hit apply changes again, unloading mod, and if we go back to any scenario, it should be displaying the regular units names, and it does, so that was properly removed, so that's good. Okay, so that's awesome. Now that's basically going to be it about this template mod. I'm no longer going to talk about it, so we can just close this, and close this template mod as well. We can just reopen Visual Studio Code. And now what I am going to show you is going to be the actual example mod, because this one contains more code. And yeah, this is going to be the next step for our tutorial. So we just drag and drop into Visual Studio. As a reminder, this is all available in the description of this video, so you can download these two projects and have fun with them. So again, we go to the File Explorer, and now we can see that we have quite a few more files. Now, fear not, it is pretty much going to be the same thing as before. So let me just switch to full screen so that we have a better overview of things. All right, so now we're going to be talking more about code. I'm going to base myself on the principle that you are already acquainted with programming and you already have the basics, basically. I'm not going to be giving a programming course today. This tutorial really is for people with a basic knowledge of programming. All right, so your mod is going to be starting from this. So this is going to be the very basic raw life of your mod. So there is the creation here, then there is the initialization, and there is the mod being unloaded, and there is your custom code. None of this should ever really be touched because this is required, mandatory. Everything else you can change it. Okay, so first let's take a look at the files available to us in this project. There is example mod, which is already open. We have localization.cs, playerpatch.cs, policypatch.cs, and runtimeimageloader.cs. All right, so let's go over all of these and let's talk about actual coding and how Harmony works under the hood. Let's take a look at the player patch file and talk about Harmony first. When modding with Harmony, there are going to be three functions available to you. There is going to be the prefix function, there is going to be the postfix function, and the transpiler function. So let's talk about what all of these actually mean. What you're going to be able to do is modify the game's code. And so you are going to target specific functions of the game and either have your code run before the games or after the games, or basically modify a very specific instruction from a game's function. So let's talk about what's the easiest first. And that player patch file, we have a prefix here and a postfix function here. All right, so the goal of this patch is to modify the add war with function. We can take a look at what this add war function actually does. So you can just place your mouse over it, and then there's a shortcut. On Mac it's going to be Command. On Windows it's gonna be something else, maybe Control or Alt, I don't know. But then if you have this highlighted, I can just left click on it, and basically what this is going to do is going to open the game's base code and show you the definition of the function we are going to be modding. So here we can see what all of this function actually does. I'm not going to be really like talking about what it actually does here, but I'm going to show you what we can do with that. We have to use the definition, the signature of the function. So basically the function takes as a parameter a player. Then there's a boolean is actual direct war declaration, and send RPC. So all of the send RPC always is linked to multiplayer. And if this is true, this means that this function should be executed on other people's computer. You shouldn't really not really mess with any of that, because usually if you're modifying the base game function, it's already going to be running on everyone's computer anyway. This is why I'm not overriding this variable here inside that function here. Let's go back a little bit. So we have this prefix function here. This basically tells Harmony that we want this code to be run before the add war with function runs at the base code, and we still have access to all of these parameters here. So in this example, we have this check here. We make sure that the target player is not null, just in case. And we check that the player, not name, but country, is Italy. And this means that all of this will run only if the target player is Italy, basically. Then, as another example, I have added a date check. So we are going to be running the code only if the year is after 1940, basically. If not, we're going to be displaying an error message to the player. And this is this is base game code. Again, we can see it here. So I'm just reusing what is available to me from the base game. Okay, so and then one last thing, since this function is of type Boolean, it must return a bool. And so we return false when we are skipping the original method, since this runs before the original one. And we're going to return true if we want to uh, just let the game run the original method. So let me just save this, and just to show you this in action, I'm just going to be building this with the shortcut .NET Build. So that's good. We go back to example mod this time. We go to output, and we have this example mod DLL generated here. So we go back to Unity, or to the game actually. So Steam for you. Mods, I'm going to be placing Harmony Core on top again. And we're going to browse our mod. We can just remove this template mod because it's no longer needed. And this time we drag our new mod DLL. All right, we just apply changes. And now we are going to just be checking that this all works, basically. So to check that this all works, well, the first thing is that we don't have any error in here. About the console and the errors and everything, it's all indicated in the README file. All of the output from the debugs, the debugs, well, if you have any error or if there are any debugs, just take a look at the README, and it should be written in here that all of this is going to be written to your player.log file located at the following path, depending on the platform you are on. This is just in here in Unity for convenience's sake, but for you, since you're going to be using Steam, this is going to be located in that file at this location. So now we go to play standalone, and we said that the patch was for Italy if the date is prior to 1940. So if we go to, let's say, Europe 39, if we take any country really, we just take a country, and if we try to declare war on Italy, it should show you, should show us this: you cannot go to war with Italy until 1940 message, and nothing should happen. So where's Italy? Here, declare war. Yes, you cannot go to war with Italy until 1940. This is good, nothing happens. But if we go to war with Finland, for example, it all works. Nothing happens except the regular game function, because this was only to happen with Italy and only if the year is inferior to 1940. So this all works. This is brilliant. And the extra debug that we see here are from this, basically from this postfix function that runs after a war declaration runs. So basically after this add war with code run. So that's awesome. So this is basically part one of Harmony. It's about prefixes. They run before the base game method. So just remember that. Now there is this postfix method. This one, in comparison with prefix, will run your code after the base game code ran. Same parameters as above, because, well, this is still this add war with a function, so it doesn't really change. We're still patching that function. Let's just take a look at the logic here. If instance refers to, as you can see, this isn't part of the parameters here. The instance always refers to the object calling the function. Since we're patching the player object, player class, instance refers to the player calling the add war with function. We check if instance.country equals USA, then if the target country is Italy, and if so, we are going to be adding 1000 money to the USA and spawning, well, not spawning, but generating and adding 3 new units to the US player. And on top of that, even if none of this code runs, you can see that there is a debug.log line here. This basically just writes text to the log. So again, on Unity, this is in the console here, and for you, this is going to be in that player.log file. So let's just take a look that this basically works. So we can just start this again. We go to play standalone. We go to Europe, 1941, USA, human. Okay, and now we pay attention to how much money we have. We have 3,000. Let's go to diplomacy. Italy, declare war. Yes. War declaration patch. We are now properly at war. We have 4,000, so that worked. We have gained 1,000, and we have these 3, so this is perfect. Okay, awesome. So I would say this concludes the postfix chapter. So we've seen how to run code before, we've seen how to run code after, and there is one third way, which is Transpiler. Transpiler is to perform some kind of changes with surgical precision. What I mean by this is changing a single number in a function or that kind of thing when you're not actually going to be running a ton of code. A concrete example of this I could come up with is changing the manpower growth of the players. We do a harmony patch, sorry. We're targeting get manpower growth. So if we take a look at this function here, we can see that it calculates the manpower growth for the turn. And we can see that the default value is 0.03. This means that it is a 3-person growth. And so basically what we're going to do is change that to be our own. So I've set that to 1. I think I'm going to change it to like 0.1, that would, or 0.5. That would be more than enough. So we have this as a debug to make sure that this runs, and we have this as well that lets us know when it is patched properly. So the way the transpiler works is that it basically is going to be reading every single line of code and every single variable of that line. And since we want to change this value here, we know it is a type float. So we are targeting type float. If you go to, well, I don't know these by heart. Okay, this is all in the documentation of Harmony. And I'll say this once now, but I will say it again. Please just use the LLM of your choice. Talk to ChatGPT, talk to DeepSeek, talk to Claude, talk to any AI that you can, and they will be tremendously helpful. Okay, way more competent than I will be. So we're just looking for a float, and for that float to be equal to 0.03. So we're targeting this float, and here we're saying, hey, that instruction, you turn it into 0.5. And that's it. That's what it does. So since I've changed that code, I'm going to have to rebuild it. I'm going to be we're dragging and dropping it. So we're gonna go here again. I think that maybe first I should show you the default behavior. So if we go to yeah, Berlin, let's go to the Soviet Union. And let's look at our growth. We have a growth of 1,140 per turn. So if we go back to the main menu, we go to mods, Harmony Core on top, then our own, apply changes. We go back to Berlin, Soviet Union, and now if we take a look at that, we are at 19K per turn. So, and we also can see that the value was patched. So our code ran, so this is perfect. We have two of these in the console. I'm going to be explaining why in just a sec, but for now, we know that it works, and that is already more than enough. So this was about transpiling. This is really not something you're going to be using very often because it is, well, it is quite tedious to use and quite prone to breaking, because if, let's say, tomorrow I decide to change this to like even like 0.31, this won't work anymore because you would have to know that this turned into this. So yeah, this is going to be really not the best way to patch the game, but for things that I'm not planning to change, I'm not really planning to change this, to be honest. But yeah, basically, this is how transpiling works. Okay, so we can just remove this. I'm gonna keep this. And so about this, why do we have two of these? Well, let's take a look at our player patch here class. We can see that the transpiler is checking against this get manpower growth function, and we can see that we have a second harmony patch for that function here, and so it's running once because it gets ran first, and then since we're applying a second patch to that function, I haven't talked about this one yet, but this also patches get manpower growth. Well, this runs again because the function changed, and so Harmony is like, okay, so well, we need to apply this again, this change again. So that's why we have to debug here. And if we were to remove, well, to comment out that one, so let's save and build again. Yeah, let's just drag and drop this again. Gonna reload the mod. Merlin, Soviet Union. We see that we have it only once, and I think, yeah, that was enough. I shouldn't have gone that far, but yeah, we have it only once, and this is the proof that both well, when you're patching a method here and then you have another reference here of another patch, well, this will run twice. It isn't really a problem because, I mean, like, it's still going to do what you want, but just be aware of that, and I kind of explain that kind of weird debug log. So yeah, okay, so I'm just going to comment that out, and I wanted to talk about this other example. So this one is a postfix. It runs after the main function ran. Here, what we're doing is only running all of this code if the player is an AI. So this example patch basically increases the manpower growth only for the AI. What I did is basically I went ahead and opened the player class. No, I shouldn't have done that. Manpower growth class. I've basically just copied this, pasted it in here, just changed a few things to make it work with the current function, the way that we use instance here, and we don't use that, but it's just like a simplified version. And since this runs after, basically what I did is we have a modifier of 1. And what we're going to do is just increase that growth based on the modifier, based on the difficulty level, and only for the AI. So we're calculating the manpower growth here, and then we take that output value, we get it here, and we modify it here, okay? And that's basically all we're doing. And we're going to be checking this in just a sec. Let's do it now. So yeah, I'm just, 1 means like nothing changes. 2 is doubling, 3 is tripling, 4 is quadrupling, 5 is quintupling. I mean, you get it, it's written in the comments here. And then we have a small log here just to make sure that it works. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to just rebuild so that we don't have the transpiler overriding everything. Let's just do that quickly. Okay, so if we go to this again, we just do AI only so that we only have AIs. Now we can just do start, and now, yeah. So if you place your mouse over the manpower UI element here, it's basically going to, well, bring up this summary UI element, and it calculates everything. So this is why we have all of the logs here, because the calculations happen in the background since we need that information to be up to date. So this runs, and we can see that the manpower growth value for the Soviet Union changed from 1,710 to 5,130. So if we do 5,000 something divided by this, we can see that it's 3. So 3 means we're in difficulty. It's like easy, normal, hard, most likely. And yeah, so this is basically a proof that, well, this all works. Now I'm going to leave that for the example so that we can debug, but in an actual environment, you would just remove that and remove the debug. This is really just to have the value before we modify it, and then we can just display both of them. So yeah, so it works. So that is how you would basically tweak certain values just for the AI players, because I know that some of you have already said that like the AI is not so careful about its manpower and stuff like that. So that is how we would be changing that just for the AI. Okay, that is everything there is to know about the prefix, postfix, transpiler. So you know the basics about how harmony works. Now I would have one more example for you, the policy patch. So this policy patch file basically is how to implement your own custom policy. So this is very easy. You're going to declare your policy here. We just declare it here, like new policy equals new policy. You give it a name, a description, a category, and a type. The type kind of is the ID of your policy. So you're going to have to use something here that isn't used by any other policy in the game. So you can most likely open this here, and you can see that there are quite a lot of policy types. Again, this is what makes a policy unique. And so because this is an enum, you are not going to be able to like add your own. This is not how it works. You cannot do that. But since an enum in C#, the underlying data basically is a simple int, you can just write a number here and cast it into the type of a policy. And it's basically going to artificially add something here like my policy, and it would be something like that, because all of these here really are something like this: 1, 0, 1, etc., etc. It's all numbers, right? If you know about programming, you already knew that. So, but yeah, so we're adding our own like this. So now just make sure that your number is going to be like unique or something, because if people are going to play with several mods, if they're also coming up with their own policies, you may run into collisions. So if your mod uses the ID 99 for 99 for your policy, and another mod also uses that, it's basically going to end up being the same policy. So yeah, just make sure to make use of unique numbers, and yeah, that's pretty much the yeah the caveat here. Okay, so a simple Harmony patch for patching the policies.generate policies, postfix. So we run this uh, after the generate policies ran, sorry, so that we can take a look at what policies.generate policies does. Well, we can see that it adds a bunch of policies, and then this is the policies that are used. You see, like initialize policies, generate policies, I don't know. It's just like gathering the policy in the game. So what we're gonna do is just add our own policy to that list, basically. And then this is step one of adding your own policy. So this is good. I mean, like without all of this, it would work. Like you would have your own policy into the game. We can even do the test here quickly. But you're going to be missing, well, an icon, because all this does is it just adds, let me show you, just adds, I'm going to make a quick save, your policy in here, right? With the name and description, right? But the thing is, well, you want an icon, right? So this here, Harmony patch, we patch the policies.getPolicy icon function, which takes a policy and then just returns a sprite, so the policy icon. This is for the base game. And so what we're doing here is a prefix. So we're basically running our own code before this runs. And first we're just checking that the policy that we're trying to get the icon from is our own policy. So we just check name. I think a safer, honestly, maybe a safer and cheaper way to do that would be type, since it's a number, because you could have like potentially like two policies with the same name. Yeah, technically type would be better to make sure it's unique, but name is going to work as well. And so yeah, if this isn't our policy, we just exit and we just say like, yeah, game, just run whatever code you were supposed to run. But if the policy that is being queried here is our policy, then we want to load our own sprite and return that instead. So we're just getting we have it here, right? Yeah, we have the library here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go at graphics. I have already created, so you have UI, and I've created a policies folder, and inside that I've placed my example policy icon. So this is how I know the path, right? Because I'm using the policy name as the name of the file. It's a PNG, and then the file path is just combining the location of where the mod is, and then we're just looking to the graphics folder, and then inside the UI folder, and then inside the policies folder. All of these can be like changed to whatever you want, as long as it's organized and it makes sense. But I mean, it should really just stay like that, though. That would be best. Then we have the file path, and then I have written this runtime image loader, sorry, that I would recommend you to use, because it's basically some code that is basically just going to load an image from your disk and just create a sprite from it, right? I may just even turn that into a standalone mod, maybe, so that people can just like have this mod as a dependency, so they don't have to write that code every time for every mod they're going to create. They can just rely on this. This would be a good example of a mod that you could make they're not only mods adding content or modifying content. You're also going to be interested in making mods to make it easier to make mods. This just does it all. So this loads our custom icon instead. I'm just going to run it again and just libraries, example mod. And now we're going to see that continue policies. Yep, we have our own policy here with the icon. The icon, that is what we want to check. Okay, and now, well, this is a concrete example of how one would actually apply effect to that policy. So I haven't really given this policy a goal, but this would be it. So basically, we're just going to patch the unit class, and this is going to be a postfix because we're just going to alter the upkeep cost of units, and only for infantry. So that would be like a downside to the policy. I haven't really worked on an actual direct effect of the policy, but yeah, that would be an example of a downside. Yep, this is patching the unit class, the upkeep costs more specifically. So we can take a look. That it calculate and set upkeep value, etc. Blah blah blah. Then returns the final upkeep value as an end here. And we're just taking that and multiplying by 2. So we're just making it twice as expensive for the upkeep, basically. And so we're just checking that the player owning the unit has our policy here. Okay, so this is very important because this is basically what makes the policy applied in the game, right? Because if we were to remove that, we would just be doubling the upkeep of every unit in the game for every player in every scenario. And this makes sure that only this happens for the unit only if the player owning the unit has the policy applied. So yeah, that's it. And there would be one final thing, and that thing would be localization. So as you can see here, our policy has a name and a description. I mean, like that's fine. Like this is English, right? You could write in Chinese or Russian or whatever. But I mean, the best thing to do would most likely to have it automatically translated into whatever language the players are playing with. So there is a localization file that I've created and that I've written. And so basically all of this does is contain a dictionary of languages with the entries for some strings. And the way this actually works is yet another harmony patch, patching localization manager, and most specifically patching the translate method of localization manager. If we take a look at what translate does, we can take a look and we see that all it does is it gets the value based on a localization key from the active locale. So this is going to be the active language file of the user. And if it doesn't find anything, it's going to use English as a fallback. And if the English locale doesn't have the key, it's going to just return the key to be displayed. So we are prefixing this. Our code runs before the official translate runs. We're just storing the language here. And now what we're doing is basically trying to see if our mod's localization data here contains whatever key the game is trying to use to get the localized version of it. So what you could not know, however, is how the policy localization key is generated. So it is done in Localization Manager, and we can look at get localized, get policy name, and get policy description. So we can see that this simply translates and then it generates the key here. So it says policy.name dot the name of the policy, and then policy.description dot the name of the policy. So this is how the localization key for the policy is generated. And this is what we're using here, policy.name.example policy, because this is the name of our policy. Remember, like this is what we use for the key. And then policy.description.example policy, again, the name of our policy. And then we just write like the description. That is how you would translate a policy. So now if we go back to the game, if we change the language to German, spielen, continue, and then we go to Politiken, and if we go here, we can, let me just make that bigger. No, this is not bigger. Okay, what about that? Yeah, we can see that the name has been translated, and we can also see that the description is now in German, and the name is also in German. Yeah, that is a simple example of how you would translate the name and description of a policy or policies for your mod, and a simple custom localization manager for your mod as well. This could be like further improved, developed so that it covers a wider range of things. If you ever decide to add more things for your mod, but I mean, like, this is up to you and not within the scope of this tutorial. Okay, and I think this marks the end of the overview of this example mod. I think we've covered pretty much everything there was to cover in here, with a few concrete examples to get you inspired and to give you an idea of what can be achieved. And one more thing that will be made available alongside the example mod and the template mod is this. This is a map of the game's code. So you have two files. The first one is map.csv. It basically contains a list of all of the C# files available in the game. This will already give you quite a good idea of where what information is stored. You know, when I do like player dot something, or you know, like I know where it is because I have made the game, but you don't. So you're gonna have to be looking at this, and this will already point you in the right direction. Then you can just browse those files as I've done many times in this video. And the second file is map.md, and this basically sort of maps out every class there is in the game and gives you an example of how to mod one method in every class with pre-generated code. So you could just do right click, open with Visual Studio, and then we go to the middle, and then we can see that, for example, we can patch tile geo, so tile game object, and we can patch the capture victory point function from the tile geo class, and this would be an example. Prefix, postfix, and yeah, basically this is just a summary file of all of the classes in the game and all sorts of functions and examples of how you would go about patching them. One tip I would like to give you is don't be afraid to use AI. The AI is going to be way more knowledgeable than me or you on the way Harmony works, and if you can just feed it the game's code as well, and just like, hey, I would like to mod this part of the game, like just give him the function and you just tell him what you want to achieve, he is going to just spit out the working modified function or patch, Harmony patch, that you are going to just be able to copy and paste in your mod. And honestly, I cannot stress this more because I mean, like, even for those example mods and the templates, I have been using the AI to generate these simply because I was not knowledgeable about the harmony. Well, now I kind of am because I've went through all of this and I've made this tutorial. But at the very beginning, I mean, I relied on the AI a lot, and I mean, like, everything it did, it was just like working, you know. So yeah, that would be my final tip about modding the game. Now, as time goes by and modders start doing stuff, I mean, our Discord channel, which links is going to be in the description, the community is going to be even more helpful since more and more people are going to be making mods and working with this new tool. So yeah, this is definitely one place that I would recommend you to check out because yeah, the most of the help most likely is going to come from there outside of Steam's forums and the comments under this video. And now that's me realizing that I forgot to talk about something very important: game updates and updates in general. So remember, we have libraries here, right? And in order to access the game's code, well, we need this assembly C#, which is taken from the game's files. So I'm going to show you how this all works and what the impacts of a potential updates are going to be. So you see, we are using very specific methods and classes from the base game. But what if I released an update? So I'm just going to do an update right now. That, for example, since this was missing from the player patch here, where we added units, I'm going to just do reserve instance and do that, so that this basically refreshes the notifications near the reserve button so that you know you have units in the reserve ready to be deployed. That was missing when we were adding units. So yeah, I'm adding this here. So I'm just going to build it. And what I'm going to do is go back to the example mod output, and let me just reload this quickly. Oh yeah, it's all in German. Mods, example mod, libraries. We're just going to drop this here. Okay, quit. And now let's say I am performing a game update. So what happens if this method here is renamed into blah blah blah, for example, right? Now let's perform, let's just give them the time to refresh scripts. I'm going to make an update. So it just means that we're building the game. This is going to take 15 seconds or so. And once that's done, I'm going to show you how to grab the libraries from the game in order to, place them, well, inside here. Because this one is going to need to be updated as often as the game is being updated, because otherwise, if one day I decide to rename a function that your mod uses, well, it's just going to fail. I'm going to just show you right now to you. Yeah, let's just show you that it no longer works. We are not going to see any errors in the logs because it only is going to run when this runs. So in order to show you that it definitely don't work is to trigger it. So we have to go with the US again, declare war, and we're going to be getting an error. So if we go to diplomacy, I'm just going to clear that. Italy, declare war, and boom, missing method exception, method not found. Reserve panel GO, check notification for new units we can deploy. So as you can see, since the game was updated and the function is now named something else, well, this here no longer exists, so the game cannot execute it. So this is why we have to keep our mod up to date. And so the way to do this is, I'm going to show you on the Mac OS Well, I could show you on the Windows um, if you want. I'm going to show you on macOS first. So we're going to do a right click, show package contents, contents, our sources, data, managed. And here we have all of the libraries used by the game and in the game. And so the first one is the one we're going to get, copy, paste, and boom, that's it. We've updated the library for the mod. We would obviously need to rebuild the mod. I'm going to do that in just a sec. But basically, yeah, that's how it works. Now for Windows, I'm not really well versed with Windows, but I'm sure we're gonna figure out where it is located at. Should be something very similar to Mac OS. It's most likely going to be in a hex of steel data and then managed, and you've already got it. So this doesn't matter if it's like Windows, Mac, whatever, it's a library. It's going to be the same on every platform, right? So just take it, boom, replace it, and you're done. And now all we're gonna have to do is just close, so basically to refresh the libraries. So either we can maybe do this. Yeah, no, that isn't enough. Okay, we're just gonna close it and we're gonna reopen it. And then it should be telling us now that, yeah, see, it no longer exists. But if we do blah, 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 we can see that it exists now. And so this would be the way to fix this. So we just rebuild the mod, manage, we close, output, example mod, just replace it. And now, since we have the same code as the base game, well, things are gonna be working much, much better. They're basically gonna work, right? Because that was the whole idea behind this. Come on, come on. And everything works. We got the money, and we have this new thing here, which refreshes the reserve icon, and yeah. So this is basically something you really have to keep in mind, that for every game update that is released, your mod may or may not become uh, obsolete. The good news is I often I really rarely rename a method. I have tried to clean up the entire project, the variables and the methods before releasing this version 8 update, so that I don't have to rename a bunch later. Let me just cancel that, right? Yeah, just going to just, yeah, revert whatever changes. But yeah, basically that's something you really have to pay attention to, and the most likely the number one reason that your mod may break with an update, and also one more reason why you should be keeping up to date this manifest.json. Currently is just 8 plus because the version is about to be released. But if in future uh, your code only works with a specific version of the game, that should be reflected here so that people don't, download your mod, play on another version, and they're like, well, it doesn't work. So yeah, that's a simple thing to keep in mind. So yeah, that was the thing I forgot to talk about, and that ended up being very, very important. And so this is going to be the end of this advanced modding tutorial. It was much, much longer than I originally expected, but there was a lot to be said. And I also wanted to go into some details for a few things. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful for all of you. And if you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the comment section, or come and check out the Discord server. I'm more active there, as is the community. One last thing I think I would say is I can't wait to see what you guys are going to come up with and what kind of mods you're going to be working on. I am genuinely super happy about the amount of possibilities that this opens up, so I really hope that you're going to enjoy it. All right, well, thanks for watching and see you around.